So I've been chilling as of late, you know what I'm saying, taking it pretty easy with all this Street Fighter business going about. And then I saw the fact that we have an open beta coming. I'm like, ooh, we about to eat good. But then right when I say that, right the moment when I say that, I see this stupid discourse about modern controls. Oh, and not to mention,
it's about to get worse.
And you might be thinking, how, Noza? How could it possibly get worse than this discussion? And the answer is simply the fact that we are now having a debate which one looks better, Street Fighter 6 or Street Fighter 5, and you're just like, bro, honestly, this is not even really a discussion. People don't even really care all that much because people end up going to be shilling for the game or against the game regardless of what you try to tell them. If they think that the game looks ugly, that's fine too. But I'll discuss that in a different video. The reason why I made this video specifically is to discuss the fact that we have to deal with the modern controls possibly being a threat to competitive. And it's obviously not true, but let's talk about it, okay? So traditionally we have had the 6-button layout in Street Fighter games, and traditionally, for newcomers it's been a little bit difficult to break in. But that's precisely why it's so great that the game has these options for those who, let's say, are new to fighting games, as well as those who are learning how to maneuver within the fighting game space. And that's fine, you know what I mean? That's totally cool, the fact that they wanted to add that. In fact, it makes a lot of people go like, damn, what is that, bro? But of course we mustn't forget the pro scene, obviously, because they are the people who take the game the most seriously, and for a lot of people they feel as though the modern controls may impact the longevity of the game if one person is able to use simple controls and essentially dominate the people who choose to go the classic route. This may be a concern for some, but honestly it shouldn't really even be a concern, because number one, your damage gets nerfed, so you're not exactly getting all of what you would get in classic, right? Number two, when you are playing in this mode, you lose a significant amount of moves as well as a significant amount of normals, and if you cannot use all of your normals and moves, you can debatably say that you're not actually playing all of the character. And this is true for a lot of games, actually. A lot of games, especially in the Arxis space, they tend to give you an option where you can just mash buttons and it'll give you combos, or if you press certain buttons you'll get supers, right? And it gives you the ability to do so if you're completely new to the game. It'll allow you to do whatever you want within the confines, of course, but it still is better for beginners. However, people are concerned that if you're able to do a DP, which is a dragon punch, this is an input that is great against people who are jumping against you. The reason why people have an issue with this is because if you're able to do that on the drop of a hat very simply, then you'd be able to anti-air someone very consistently, and honestly it would probably make jumping very difficult in their eyes. Although there are characters that use their normals anyway, and then it's just a direction and a button, but we don't necessarily talk about that for some reason. It's a very weird thing because there are characters who just use their normals in order to anti-air you. But of course people feel like using a DP in particular is for inputs, traditionally with hitbox and whatever included in there. It's a different story, but regardless, traditionally it's a lot of inputs: forward, down, forward, and then a punch button in order to get a DP. So then they have always seen it as something that is a skill that you've needed to acquire in order to do the anti-air. Now that it's being taken away, quote unquote, people feel as though they're being robbed of opportunities to display that skill, especially at the highest level of play. Now, this doesn't really make sense because once again, you're losing your damage. Number 2, you'll be losing damage on the DP anyway, so might as well just use a normal, right? And then number 3, the fact that it doesn't even make any sense because this thing is specifically designed for new people, and even if you have access to sonic booms and a DP or a projectile and a DP, it really doesn't make up for the fact that you need to display skill in order to beat your opponent, because they have more than half of their moves locked, and if you still can't beat them, that's kind of a skill issue. I'm not gonna lie to you. And of course we're gonna see people use modern for the first bit just for content, but I do not believe that it'll be something that'll have any sort of long lasting effect on the competitive scene. So if you ever had that in your mind, just remove it, because honestly it does not make sense. Don't even worry about it. Just enjoy the game for what it is, for all the modes that it has, and just go with the flow, honestly. And I gotta ask, if you want Street Fighter 6 to be successful, you gotta drop me a little bit of a sub, a little bit of love. I'm gonna be dropping more Street Fighter content as the time goes on, just to get my feet wet in regards to this, and we'll have a lot of fun. Hopefully when the game drops and when the open beta hits, that's the end of the video. Have a great one, you guys. Peace. Oh, and one last thing, don't forget to pick a...
If I pick the top tier, and you know I'm the most prideful motherfucker there is, yo. If I pick the top tier, just pick the top tier.